Riverside.
It's the Dynasty front office, and we are building you championships one trade at a time. I'm your host, Jesse Schneeman, and I'm here with the three best friends anyone could ever have. No Mike Casper, still on assignment, but we are joined with the amazing analyst from the Dynasty Warzone Network, Dallas Hyder. How you doing tonight, Dallas?
Pretty fantastic. It's great to be on. This is actually the first live show I've been on this year, so congrats. It's getting a little close to draft time for me, which is always a little bit of anxiety ridden, but it's good to be with the boys again. It's been a while, so I'm excited for tonight.
Amazing to have you back. Yeah, we had to get some of your insights on these rookies because I feel like we've talked them pretty much to death at this point. There's only so many guys in this class that you can talk about, so it's nice to get a fresh perspective. But we're also joined by the auspicious Austin Bell. How you doing tonight, Austin?
Dude, I'm great. We are 2 weeks away tonight from the draft. So I'm pretty excited, man. The Twitter is just a nightmare for draft information right now, but it's so much fun. Just every day there's just a highlight or a low light for somebody. So I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm pretty much turning everybody off at this point. I don't really need to hear all of the misinformation that's going to get thrown out in the next couple weeks. Ty Simpson at second overall is the last ridiculous thing that I heard. So I'm good. I'm good. I just want to talk to Dallas, see what he thinks, and then I've got my full spectrum of opinions.
I was gonna say, like, if you're good, we just wrap this thing up. And
quick show, guys.
Yeah, we're good. I'll just talk for like maybe 3 to 4 minutes, then we can just wrap it up. It's fine.
Hey, my main man, Chad Mendoza. How you doing tonight, Chad?
I'm good, man. I love a mock draft, so I'm ready to do this
too.
until the day it's not useful anymore.
That will be never, because this game will go on long past our lives. All right. Austin,
at least
on that
yours.
note, at least mine, for sure.
What are we doing?
I don't know, man. I've only got a couple years left, probably. But Austin, watch.
Very morbid on a Thursday night in the middle of the spot.
Right.
I was leaning into the old jokes.
It's almost Friday, Jesse. We'll be all right.
It's true. Why don't you tell us where they can find us when we're not podcasting, Austin?
YouTube and Facebook at the Dynasty Front Office, Twitter/X at Front Office FF. And remember, best part, Discord, link in the description. As a reminder, we'll be bringing you podcasts and videos all off season, including trade bangers, 2026 rookie profiles, as well as our weekly show. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And again, join the Discord. It's in the show notes.
Yeah, I started a draft already. We're doing a pre-NFL draft in one of my leagues, and I'm posting everything in the Discord. So fun conversation. If you're not there, you're missing out.
It's true.
All right. This is our final 2026 mock draft before the NFL draft. I'm sure we'll do one immediately after, but this is our final pre-draft mock draft. I have the first pick, so why don't we just roll with it? I mean, I'm taking Jeremiah Love. That's quite obvious. We don't need to beat this one to death. Although I do. The only thing I'm going to say is the draft that I'm in that I just mentioned, Mendoza went first.
Spicy. So regarding that, I mean, I think I see you took Malachi Lemon 1-1, so let's talk about that first. Yeah.
I didn't press anything.
Someone did.
I literally did.
I like lagged out and disconnected and then saw the pick came in and I was like, what are we doing?
Literally didn't have the app open. Can you just take that off, please? Thanks.
Ooh, somebody's phone.
Yeah, that's mine. Let me turn that on silent real quick.
Yeah, I felt like we were being invaded. All right. Yeah, really spicy. Mendoza over Love. Would anybody here even consider that? And can you make a case?
It's it's hard to. I would say it's format based. Like if you're in dire need of a quarterback, I can understand you doing it because at the end of the day, you're always going to overpay for quarterbacks in Superflex. That's the only scenario where you take him over.
But if you're in a slow rookie draft, nobody's going anywhere. Why don't you try to trade 101 for a proven quarterback? Like, who do you think you could get for the 101?
Love's probably the first name that comes to my head.
Yeah.
Purdy?
I don't think I would. I mean,
I think you can get more than Purdy plus.
Yeah.
I mean,
So if you're a Herbert owner that's secure at quarterback, would you move Herbert?
Would I
Jesse
move
wouldn't.
Herbert for 101?
for the
No.
101.
Jesse definitely wouldn't.
Yeah,
I'm really
you're
high
talking.
on
You're
Herbert.
talking to the Herbert hoarder.
I have him like
Jesse. That's
six-
Jesse's new son.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
yes.
totally fair. I understand the talent. I'm just saying, after 5 years now, you have to make the case of like, okay, yes, the
Yeah.
talent's there, but he is not a top 5 quarterback. So if someone's offering you the 101 straight up, where you can get Jeremiah Love and you're weak at running back, do you make that move? That's like my threshold at quarterback, where I would be like, probably.
Okay, but I make the case that Greg Roman, and now no Greg Roman, and Mike McDaniels. So
What do you think about?
Go ahead.
What do you think about Jackson Dart for the 101?
I mean, definitely no.
That was the name I was thinking.
Definitely no.
I think that's the ceiling for me.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that's as high as you can go because
I think a step above that is kind of the category that gets like unrealistic. But anybody under, like Dart included, and then below, I think is in play, just in a vacuum.
Okay.
What about Hurts?
I would take Hurts in a heartbeat.
Yeah, for the 101, 100%.
I think people would do it. I wouldn't. I don't think I would do it. But
Now's the perfect time to
I
try to
think
get
people
Hurts.
Yeah. I think this is the time if you need a quarterback at 101.
My argument with Hurts, and Jesse, you being an Eagles fan, you can relate to this. Like, if you don't have him on your teams, it's easy to downplay him. He has perennially been the most consistent player on my Superflex teams for almost half a decade now. There's not a chance I'm moving him if I have him, regardless of what the media hype is. I don't care what it is in the wide space. Hurts is a QB1 and a high-end QB1 when it comes to fantasy every single year.
the only argument that I have is like with a quarterback like Hurts, where the floor can drop out at any given moment just because of the actual NFL ramifications of his play. That's the kind of like, do you want Hurts or do you want a player a tier above Hurts that's quite a bit safer? Because just in my opinion, I watch Hurts every week. I think Jesse, I mean, obviously he's an Eagles fan, but I think he can concede a little bit too that Hurts is not the most secure quarterback in that range of fantasy relevant quarterbacks.
I don't agree with that. That sounds like a Giants fan take.
You think he's like safer than Mahomes, or as safe as Mahomes? Lamar Jackson?
His rookie year is the only year that he is placed outside of the top 9 of quarterbacks in his entire career.
Well, I'm not talking about fantasy. I'm not talking about fantasy quarterback play.
Oh, okay.
That's not what I'm
You're
talking
just
about. I'm
real
talking
life. Okay.
I'm talking about him being an Eagle.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah. He's not going anywhere. Absolutely. I mean, the only thing that could happen, and I don't see this happening, is that he doesn't take to the new coaching, and they blow the whole thing up. I just don't see it. I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see the rushing floor return for Hurts this year, and the whole offense start to click again.
Yeah.
As
long as Hurts is an Eagle, he's great. But I just don't think that's a given. I think
there are no hints of him going anywhere. There's nobody.
There is. And I listen. Yes,
those aren't real. Those aren't real, Chad. They're not coming from the team. They're coming from a disgruntled beat writer.
I mean, but you don't really know that. And even Eagles radio shows that I listen to, they talk about it all the time as if they don't know where it's coming from either. And it sounds like some of it is coming from the team. I mean, I don't want to talk about the Eagles for a long time, but I mean, it is like,
I'll tell you my take on the Hurts hit piece that came out is that he pushed back last year quite a bit on a lot of things that they wanted to do with the offense. And that's not good. It wasn't healthy for the team. There was a toxic relationship between him and the OC. The OC was horrible to begin with. I'm not saying Hurts didn't handle it well. This is the team telling Hurts that you can't be resistant to change, that we are making changes and this is going to happen. And then the First Takes and the media cycles of the world took it and just focused on the negative parts of that story. There are a lot of positive parts about that story too, and a lot of positive things that Hurts has done. And the message from the Eagles is, this is our franchise quarterback. He is not going anywhere.
I should have known I was going to get this started.
Yeah. Well, technically I brought up Hurts, so it's kind of my fault, but it felt like the name that, to me, would be a perfect opportunity if you need a quarterback and you have the 101.
Yeah,
I would give it up.
To me,
pretty
do
easily.
not take Mendoza at 101. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah,
unless it's a league that's 12 teams, start 2 quarterback, and you don't have to have any running backs, it just flexes. That's a little bit different, but not many people play in that variation. So any kind of regular super flex, trade the pick.
Shoot high. If you can get Hurts or Herbert, man, I am all in on that range. And it's not out of the realm of possibility at all. Send the offer, shoot your shot. I traded 101. I didn't even send this offer. It came to me. I got a 27 first and a chain.
Yeah. I mean, you have to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to.
It just came flying into my inbox, and I was like, okay, fine. I mean, he had sent a couple other things that I turned down, and I guess he just got sick of me turning them down.
Just show the fair.
But anyway, let's move on to 102. Chad, go for it.
All right, I guess I'm gonna go with Carnell Tate.
I knew it.
Spicy. Make your case.
Yeah, so as long as Carnell Tate isn't a Jet or a Brown, I'm taking a 102. That's not a given, obviously. Draft hasn't happened yet. Fernando Mendoza, we know the landing spot. I think the Raiders is a pretty nice landing spot. You guys know I like him a ton, but I think the world of Carnell Tate. I'm really excited about him as a player. If I'm in a 14 team Superflex league, I'm obviously going to go with the quarterback, and it is like, I mean, it's a toss up for me, but just for the sake of the mock, mixing it up a little bit, we'll go Carnell Tate.
Yeah.
So, you said last week on air that you're thinking about doing this in your rookie drafts. Are you there?
Yeah. That's why I did it now. I mean, I'm not making it up. I would actually do it as long as he's not a Jet or a Brown.
Okay. Yeah, that's another thing while we're going through this mock. Just tell us what it would take for you to actually make this pick where you're making it. So like where the player has to go, not necessarily a landing spot, but what has to happen or what doesn't have to happen as far as, I guess, draft capital. Yeah. And for Love, for me, it's just, as long as he gets drafted, I'm taking him 101.
Doesn't blow out his knee at some point in the next 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Still probably do it, actually.
Right now, as a Jonathan Brooks owner, that's not a fun game to play. So
now is your time to shine.
Trust me.
Your time is coming.
I was sitting there, I was like, man, their roster's really barren at running back right now outside of Jilla.
And they really can't afford to spend anything earlier than like a 5th or 6th on one in this draft.
Not on that position. It's just not the draft.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's music to my Chuba Hubbard ears. Love that guy.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of touches.
I do have a question on the first 2 picks. So
Sure.
Chad is very similar to me. We're comp guys. I'm curious, what are your comps for the first 2? For Love and for Tate? Because I'm going to be giving them for all my picks and play style specifically wise. So I'm curious as to where you see these 2 guys for realistic outlook in the NFL, not like ceiling comp.
Carnell Tate's been really tough for me. It's hard for me to place a comp for him just because he does everything really, really well. He's well-rounded. But he also gets, pretty great separation for his size. Even without, even with the speed concerns that some people have, I don't really have those same concerns. But yeah, I mean, it's tough for me. I think he's a pretty unique player. Yeah, I have comps for a lot of guys, but I haven't really thought of a really good one for Tate. I would say for me, as far as what I see his kind of middle of the road impact as a player in the league, it's probably like mid-tier wide receiver 1 is where I think his middle of the road.
Interesting.
Kind of.
So you see him in the same vein as like a Nico Collins?
Yeah, around Nico. Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Okay.
How about Drake?
Yeah, because I mean, I would say those two are like lockstep. Usually,
I
5'6".
think Drake is. Yeah, I think Drake is maybe a little bit more high end for me, just because I think he on his like with good quarterback play, I think he's a top 3, top 4 wide receiver personally. But yeah, Cardinal Tate for me just a notch below that.
That's fair. For Tate, so this is one that'll connect with Jesse. So the one that I see that's like an early comp that's most recent for me is I feel like everyone's talking about Tate and trying to nitpick him how everyone was with Olave coming out. So it's an easy comp when it comes to him coming out of the same school, same type of skill set, same middling athletic profile, but the production to basically back it up does everything well. For me, Jesse, he reminds me so much. If you put him side by side YouTube videos with him and Jeremy Maclin, they look identical when they're out there on the field. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's good. Like Maclin, I can never think back. And I'm like, there's one trait where I absolutely loved it with what Maclin was doing. That's how I feel with Tate coming out. And so that's my comp for him is Maclin specifically because it's the same role. The move piece, it can be feasible in a lot of different schemes, movable. He's not going to absolutely wow you at anything, but he's going to surprise you with the production every single year.
He's bigger than Maclin. Maclin was probably 6.
I think he was 6'1". You know, what, 1 inch? Like,
okay.
Yeah.
He just looks bigger than Maclin. Than my memory of Maclin.
I just remember Maclin making those catches where I was like, oh, he probably shouldn't have been making that catch. And that's how I kind of feel watching
Tate.
Tate.
Such a rock solid outside going to win versus whatever you put up against him, like at a really good rate.
Yep.
You know, that's a good comp.
Yeah, that's fair.
I see him somewhere between Sutton and probably. I mean, I think he's a better player than T. Higgins. But the movement style is what I see.
It's
like original Cortland Sutton, not this version that we have, like pre-injury Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, so it's the Olave range. Like you don't want to call him a wide receiver 1, but man, it feels a little dirty calling him a wide receiver 2. Like
I actually always loved Olave. I always thought he had a wide receiver 1 talent.
I think Olave without the injuries is an easy wide receiver 1. It's just
trust me and you were the exact same chat coming out. We were guys.
I remember. We loved it.
It's the exact same capacity as how I feel about Tate. It's just one of those guys where you try to find the faults because he doesn't pop outside of what you're viewing and you're looking for those big traits, and it's hard to place those guys because you're hoping for that perennial Robert Woods, the Olave, the back end wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver 2 every year with this type of profile if you're not reaching on those big assets. So it's really hard to give them comps and like place them in your mind where you should take them. So I'm just curious because you took them too. So
I think almost every team in the NFL is looking for a player like Cardinal Tate, so he fits everywhere.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they're rare, and there's not many in this draft either. The Cardinal Tate, I probably like him a little bit more even than I liked Olave, and I liked Olave a ton.
Interesting.
Cardinal Tate, there's something about him. There's something to say about a player that just does everything really well. Maybe he doesn't have that elite trait, but everything is just really polished. And I think he's going to be successful pretty early.
For me, Olave's intermediate like separation on route running was better than what Tate is because Tate wasn't asked to do a lot of the intermediate underneath, like dig routes across the center of the field, and that was where Olave. It's like, okay, yeah, you're an outside X, but like you are getting a lot of 10 to 12 yard gains on these crossers that I don't see from Tate. That's the only differentiator for me.
Yeah. And you can't teach that speed, right? Olave is just a much faster player too, and doing a lot of the same.
Tate
kind
doesn't
of
have the yak nearly that honestly any of the guys y'all have mentioned. That's kind of where
yak guy.
He was in college. He's not now. He was in college.
It's exactly what he was. Yeah.
All right, Austin, who got a 3?
Well, made it pretty easy for me. So instead of having to choose which receiver, I get to take the quarterback. There isn't really a scenario, I don't think, assuming Vegas takes Mendoza, that I'm not taking Mendoza here. So it's pretty simple for me. clear-cut QB1 going into what's starting to feel like a pretty decent situation. I like the coaching staff. Go ahead.
What if Lemon goes to the Chiefs?
I mean, obviously, I love it. But in a super
he's just in love
draft,
he's in love with Lemon. He's in love with Lemon, and that's why I mention it. I know they got mocked. I think Schrager mocked Tyson to him, so and his mocks are pretty accurate. So I imagine there probably is a good chance they go wide receiver. So I mean, it's something.
Look behind the curtain. That's probably the third or fourth. Hey, Austin, what if Lemon goes here? Question that I've heard today.
Well, there will be a lot more of them. Yeah, from you.
Yeah, from you. Yeah.
For me, the smoke for Lemon specifically for me is the Rams. With the Puka news and everything like that that's going on right now.
Yeah.
If he ends up on the Rams.
That's where Schrager has him going.
Yeah,
he has him going to the Rams.
Yeah.
Well, don't get me started on Lemon. If we want to talk Mendoza, I mean, we better not bring up more Mekhi Lemon.
Well,
you just threw me off when you said there's no scenario.
In a super flex draft, if I'm at 103 and Mendoza's still sitting there, I'm not sure there is. When it just comes to the pure value of it. I mean, and maybe if I don't need a quarterback, then sure, maybe I trade back here. I go back a spot because I don't think many people are going to expect Mendoza to make it past 2. So I think it opens a good window up to maybe trade back if I do want to go with Lemon.
Nice.
But I think Mendoza's in this class with the quarterback situation, assuming Simpson doesn't get top 10 capital to a team where he's going to start year 1, he's the only option. For people that need quarterbacks in a super flex league, he is the option. Other than that, you're going to have to trade for a vet. So just the value and insulation in that piece is worth more than even my infatuation with Lemon.
I wouldn't. I would have taken Mendoza at 102, and I don't know that there's anything that could happen that would move me off of that either.
I mean, there are scenarios where I'm not going to take him 2, 3, 4, but that means I'm going to make a move in a different direction because I don't need a quarterback. The pick value for me is Mendoza until we see otherwise, and the draft could change that.
I'm either taking Mendoza too, or I'm trading out personally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think it just depends on how you see the player personally. You guys know I like Mendoza, but I mean, for me, he's similar to Cam Ward, if not a little bit less of a prospect than Cam Ward, in my opinion. And I took players over Cam Ward last year. So
yeah, that's true. We all did.
I took Cam Ward at 102 in one situation.
But he wasn't he wasn't consensus 102.
He
was like 104.
He wasn't. No, but it was also a much better class.
See, I feel better about Mendoza than I did Ward. I had more questions with
Fair.
Ward.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ward has better tools.
Mendoza feels like he's ready for the NFL. When I just watch him, I feel like he's going to succeed. I felt like Ward. I mean, I remember last year we talked about it. I felt like Ward struggled in timing offense. He was great out of structure, but it was in timing where he struggled. And for me, that's always a yellow flag for quarterbacks. Same thing with Williams, took that whole year for him, a year and some change for him to develop in process offense. So it's always a little yellow flag.
No comment.
Wow.
Dallas, what do you think about Mendoza as far as this past season and how he started the year off and how he progressed throughout the season? Because I think it's hard to argue that he didn't get better as the season progressed, but also I think it's a little worrying that the sample size of his success is pretty small. And it's not like it's Joe Burrow where the tier of that, or the tier of that pinnacle is just so high where it's pretty hard to argue with.
Yeah, it's a great question. For me specifically, the entire Indiana offense, everyone had a specific role to play. And so it's very easy to be like, wow, look at how well they produced. Even the running backs. So you look at Black in this year's class, you're like, wow, he produced really well, athletically, middle of the road. Should I take him higher than some of these other backs that tested bad? That type of thing. When you get into looking into the individual positions, he had to learn the new system that was called out to him. There was a lot of specific wide receiver routes where everyone was running very specific route concepts around him. And so he knew exactly what he had to do. His offensive line was middle of the road. He just had to not make a mistake. when you pair that with his athleticism, it was easy to see as he progressed through the season, the athleticism came more and more into his play. You saw a lot more of those outlet runs, the broken tackles in the backfield with those highlight plays that actually got him the Heisman. And then that also leans into the fact with him getting more comfortable being like, okay, yeah, so Rat only runs 2 routes. I'm going to hit him on one of those routes every 3 plays. And outside of that, it's go to Omar Cooper Jr. over the center basically every time. If not, it's deep to Beckett. And so it's hard to evaluate him. He's a good prospect. He's massive. I feel like people aren't talking about how big he is as a quarterback prospect physically and athletically. And I think that is a boon for his actual prospect overview. But I understand talking about him roughly in that Cam Ward mold in general.
A lot to unpack. I will say, though, that it does feel like a good landing spot, at least. On paper, they're sort of putting it all together for him. The one thing that really blows him up is pressure in his face. Immediate pressure, quick pressure. That's most quarterbacks. That's trouble. But having Linderbaum there is just really one of the smartest things they could have done.
Yeah. Great.
So hopefully that helps with that, and he doesn't get that pressure flash in his face like immediately, that often.
The only concern I have is that it's great on paper, the additions they've made in the offensive line, but we've seen that happen to about 10 teams per year for the last 2 decades straight, where on paper they've improved their offensive line. Everyone thought their offensive line was going to be great. I was one of those people that was like, on paper, their offensive line last year should have been amazing. And for some reason, they were bottom 5 in basically everything. They looked like they just forgot how to play. So until I see it in the preseason and actually matriculate, I have concerns.
That reason is Chip Kelly. Just bad coaching.
I mean, he's not the O-line coach. So
yeah, but as the offensive coordinator, he's responsible for the offensive line fits.
I think they still have a
blocking scheme.
They still have improvements to make on that line, and they're not.
Surely they're not done. Surely, but they do have a good tackle, Colton.
Yeah, Colton Miller was hurt almost all last year, so that's a ginormous piece. We saw what happened with Herbert and the Chargers once they lost one and then lost both. I mean, their O-line was a disaster.
The Chargers O-line is just like the perennial bit piece. They're not allowed to have nice things. We need to stop talking about it because it's always a problem every single year.
Yeah, they ruined Mekhi Becton. What the heck, man? All right, Austin. I mean, Dallas. Wrong city. Sorry. Dallas. What you got for 104?
Yeah, for 104, I am going to go with Austin's guy, though. Mekhi Lemon for me. For me, he's pretty solidly wide receiver 2 right now. He does everything extremely well. My comp and what you'll understand when I explain this, it's not a common one for him. It's actually something that's comp for a different player, but I see a lot of Michael Pittman in him, to where it's not flashy, it's not amazing. You don't love absolutely everything that he's doing, but he's getting the yards that are supposed to be there. He's making the correct moves when he's supposed to be making them across the middle, on the outside, when he's asked to do outside type of things. Realistically, he plays as a slot, but I think he's more of a slot Z hybrid move back and forth type of piece. And so that's why I said the Rams, like, he's basically what Puka Nacua was coming out as a prospect, both physically and route running wise. He's just going to be drafted a lot higher. And so there's not a lot of positions or specific teams that he gets drafted to that I don't like, because I think he fits basically every offense. It's just how effectively that offensive coordinator will use him, which is the problem with every prospect, which is why I feel comfortable taking wide receiver at 4, which I typically lean running backs when I start to get 4 to 8/9 range when I'm drafting in that range. So.
All right. Yeah, I have no problem with Lemon here. The number one thing, like, that I guess the thing that seals the deal for Lemon for me, like, he's a good player. I really love watching him on film. He's electric. He runs great routes.
My man.
But it's the That's a running gag. Dallas is I can't stop saying roots. I say run roots.
He probably knows that. He's been around you enough.
Yeah, I've done the show a couple of years in a row, so
just reminding you. Anyway, it's the contested catch. For his size, man, he is a dog, and he performs way better in the contested catch than he should, and that just is, like I said, that's what kind of seals the deal as a high end.
And he's not like
pick for me.
tiny, but I understand the feel that you have for that because it's the same type of feeling I had for like Josh Downs when he was coming out. I was like, you shouldn't be making that contested catch, but he keeps doing it
Right
every single time I'm watching it on tape. He's bringing that ball in, and don't even get me started on Josh Downs, but it's fine.
I won't. It's for another time. But it's just the way in which he does it just impresses me. You know, it's a dog my ball mentality. I love to see that in a wide receiver.
Yeah, he's my wide receiver one, Dallas. They all know that, but I just wanted to go ahead and say that. For me, he is the next JSN Amon-Ra. He plays that role. I see a complete success style if he is put in that situation. And nobody mentioned his best attribute, which is the yards after catch. He is phenomenal yards after catch. And you can mention the size.
I thought you were going to talk about his press conference ability.
No, I don't care. As long as he scores me points, I don't care how he acts.
Well, you're just saying his best attribute. I was like,
well, some would argue that's probably not his best, but he just feels like a surefire piece for me. I have questions about every other receiver in the class, and for me, I don't have that with Lemon.
Yeah, Yak is the one thing I typically don't talk about at wide receiver. If you guys have been around my content enough to know, because that's usually scheme driven more so than it is specific player. Athleticism comes into it, but like Ben Johnson, just because that's my tried and true heart now as a Bears fan, like him scheming up a wide receiver to have yards after the catch possibilities is a lot different than even a Todd Monken is. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just different, even though both are great at what they do. And so that's the one aspect with wide receivers I have a hard time banking on, but I understand that it's impressive. You watch it on tape, he breaks tackles, he does a lot of great things. It's just that stuff is more of a play in every down type of situation for me.
Yeah, I think the break tackle part is the tackle avoidance is where the Yak separates from somebody like Olave, who I would agree was very scheme dependent out of Ohio State. Whereas like Lemon and Cooper, they create the yards after catch.
Oh.
I think that's where you see a difference.
So Cooper's the best Yak wide receiver this entire draft.
Absolutely.
It's insane.
He's close to the best Yak person in general, not even including receiver, tight end, running back. Love holds that, but I think he's in an argument for number 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, I'm up at number 5.
You are.
It's easy. You guys just left me with Jordan Tyson, my formerly at the beginning of this process, my wide receiver 1 in this class, but he's fallen behind Tate. I have him neck and neck with Lemon. I know there's been a lot of negative things that come out about him lately, but we're in that season. They're pulling everything they can about him out. I do wish he was a little more physical, little better with the contested catch, but I love his versatility. I love his fluid movement. Matt Waldman, see, this is what I mean by hypercritical, and I love Matt Waldman, but he can be so specifically critical of a player that it just doesn't really apply to like his game. Yeah. You know, just you're not really talking about a football play now. You're just talking about you're dissecting every step, and he's saying that he's too sudden, that he doesn't give a player a chance to react when he makes a head fake or a juke in a route. Come on, man. That pacing and timing can be taught. That's probably one of the easiest things to teach to a wide receiver. He's got the natural ability. That, to me, that is not a flaw and not a reason to move him down a board.
Yeah, in all fairness, he did say that with the capacity of him talking about Luther Burden in that podcast. So it was him referencing that they had the exact same problem. So that is what I'll say.
Okay, but he is significantly more advanced as a route runner than Luther Burden was coming out. Luther Burden was very
Yeah.
raw compared to Jordan Tyson.
Yeah, the only problems I have with Tyson is the injury, because that's soft tissue after soft tissue after soft tissue, which is a pattern, not a blip.
Mhm.
Yes,
Okay, I think it's
agreed.
overblown. It's not.
Well, I mean, it's not overblown because he missed the combine. He missed his pro day. He's having to do a separate individual.
He has an injury right now
that he got 8 months ago.
Okay.
Where I'm at with Jordan Tyson is I think his talent for as far as a fantasy perspective goes. I'm not an NFL owner. I don't have to pay him, right? But as a fantasy player, I am very excited about his short-term prospects as far as being ready day one, being able to produce day one, and being a guy that even if you are scared of the injury history, you can move off of pretty easily. If you can get him around 106, 107, 108, to me, as for the kind of prospect he is, I think that's a heck of a bargain.
Yeah,
I agree. And this, what has to happen for me to take him here is that he goes in, I don't know, top 20, 25 picks.
What if he goes to Baltimore?
Walk, to be honest.
Yeah. Fine. Oof. I have no problem with
that. Really?
Yes, yourself. They need a player like that. Lamar Jackson, an MVP player.
I don't need them to need a player like that.
No.
Why do you guys think Baltimore?
Let them go find somebody in the third.
Yeah.
I mean, Lamar Jackson's got a 4,000-yard season under his belt, doesn't he?
That's not the problem. Tyson feels like Bateman to me. Like that was my comp.
That's actually, I've never thought that. And that is way too, like, that bothers me how good I feel about that.
Yep. That's my comp on my sheet right here is Bateman. So
but Bateman's always been so much more like straight line speed and bad hands.
Not in college.
No, he was not straight line speed. He was knocked for being not fast when people thought he was going to be fast. He was a wiggle underneath wide receiver that had some
that's not what he is in the NFL.
You're never what you are in college. That's the point.
That's actually really true. Oh man, that's going to bother me the rest of the time. I think about.
I'm here for pain.
Because I really liked Bateman coming out, but there were question marks, and I do feel like Tyson has those exact same question marks.
That doesn't do anything for me, to be honest. I mean, I see it, but player outlooks, situation is so important. You know,
that's so true.
He's a hell of a prospect. He's gonna be fine. I personally love him in this range, and like I said, if you're scared of the injury history, then you're gonna have time to get rid of these guys. Like it's not like you pick them, you have to hold them forever. You know, it's not the game we're playing here.
No, not at all.
So, what's Baltimore? 16?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're telling me if he goes 14th overall? He's not worth the 105.
No, so nothing I've said is anything bad about this. Tyson is my next wide receiver. I'm playing devil's advocate, talking about the facts of you're taking someone at the 105 with these questions. Give me your answer as to why it's worth it.
Yeah, because there's no one better. That's the problem in this class.
Exactly.
I would much rather there be someone else I felt better about, and I could comfortably put Tyson at 107 and 108 and feel good about it. But
I mean, I'd take Tataroa as a prospect over probably all these guys.
Probably not over Tate for me, but the others, yes.
Tate's ahead of him for me.
All right.
So that's the problem for me is Tyson's 105 for me clearly, but as Chad mentioned, I have a very good opportunity to move off of that when the time comes in a short window.
Yeah. I mean, look at a player like Odell and all his soft tissue injuries, and saying that anybody's going to be Odell in their rookie year is insane, right? One of the best rookie years of all time. But just saying, like, you could move off of a player that, you know, has a good rookie season because the hype builds in an astronomical proportion because people are saying, okay, if he's doing this good, you know, in the first 3 months, what's he going to do in 6 months? What is he going to be in 8 months? Right? It's
like
their
I was about to
imagination
say,
starts going crazy. Yeah,
what Igbuka was worth in the middle of last season was outrageous.
I mean,
Yeah, tell me what a player's going to do in month 1, month 2, and I mean, I'll take the players that can produce early all day.
Yeah, and that's more about opportunity, which is what we'll learn after the draft more so than anything. But I mean, it's the exact same conversation with Bucky Irving. Like, I was not a Bucky guy, and I didn't draft him anywhere, but anyone that did could have easily flipped him for a massive gain going into last year, and you would have felt pretty good about it all of last year if you had moved off of him.
Yeah, I flipped.
Now
him like
it's
three times.
injury related. Don't call me out. But at the same time, like, still not in love with him.
Yeah, but but that's his profile. He's a smaller back, so injury is part of the risk with him. I mean, it's part of the risk with any back, and that's why it's hard to invest a lot in running backs, but Bucky especially. All right,
what's the premium here, guys?
0.5.
0.5. Yeah, 106.
Do it.
That is Chad.
I know you're going to do it. Just go ahead.
I would do it. So.
Nah,
Let me just do it for you. I know where he's going. I'll just do it for him.
He's considered somebody else. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I thought
Let's just do it.
I knew where you were going.
I'd probably go Kenyon Sadiq in most drafts, but I mean, man, Jadarian Price with the round 1 hype going, I see a pretty high end starter in the league. And when I say high end, I'm not talking about Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, but like a top 15 kind of running back,
potentially a Kyren Williams.
Yeah, I think he's a better player than Kyren personally, and I liked Kyren as a prospect more than most did. But I just think he's better. The sample size is scary, but there's reasons for it, right? It's not like it's not some obvious reason that we can't all see. I'm willing to plant my flag on the player. I really, really like him. I hope I can get him a little bit later than this, to be honest. But just for the mock draft sake, I'll go with Jadarian Price.
Yeah,
Dallas. So you're saying if he goes in the first round of the NFL draft, you'll take him here? No, I'm sorry, Chad.
Yeah, no, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And I do think that's a likely outcome at this point. Not the I mean, I don't think it's probably 50-50, early second, maybe back into the first. I think top 40 is pretty much a lock at this point, from how he's being talked about.
Dallas, what do you make of the difference between his testing speed and his play speed, how he looks on film?
I don't think he's a bottle rocket, but I think he has very good speed, is what I would say. And so,
why didn't he test better?
You could ask that about half the prospects. I don't really care about the 40 time for most combines.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, specifically at running back, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, but even the 10-yard split was a little below average, wasn't it?
It was bad.
Yeah, it was bad. Average. Yeah. It fits. So me and Jesse talked about this briefly, Chad, just so you're aware. I kind of knew who your person was in this draft coming into this. For me, you're not going to like my comp. I feel exactly about Price how I did about Roschon. And it is pretty similar with the excuses that people are saying of, well, we just haven't seen it. The small glimpses are great, but then he comes in, he tests slightly worse than what you anticipate him to do. The aspects that you say he's good at, we haven't really seen on paper. It's just been flashes type of thing. So that's my comp for him. Now, if he gets top 40 draft capital, I'm in lockstep with you. I'm still going to take the risk because this draft class isn't amazing. But that was my comp for him because I felt the same way where I was like, yeah, I see it. The same type of play style, same type of burst application for his game, but it's not something I'm in love with and it feels kind of dirty.
Yeah, I'd be scared if I saw Roschon too, but I don't. I'm not sure. I think we were on DWZ during the Roschon time. I did not like Roschon as a prospect. Did not like him at all. I was much below consensus on him. I don't see the same player. A little bit of the same kind of situation, arguably, but yeah. I mean, I don't see it personally.
Yeah, they don't move the same. Roschon's kind of just a plotter.
I think I think you're thinking Bears. I'm talking prospect wise. Everyone was glazing Roschon for him being the exact same level as Bijan, just without the work. And I'm not pulling that out. That's nuts. I'm not pulling that out of nowhere. That's what people were saying during draft time.
No, I understand.
I just don't think we were there on this show.
Yeah, no, I think we were much lower on him on this show than I think consensus was at any period during his prospect days. So yeah, I get what you're saying. People were really high on Roschon, and making similar kind of excuses. When I watch the players, I see I see a completely different level of talent, personally.
Who's your comp?
All right.
Do you have a comp for him?
So
Didn't you say mid-range Tony Pollard? Isn't that what it was?
yeah, mid-range Tony Pollard is kind of what I see.
Okay.
Didn't you say Dalvin Cook?
I think Dalvin Cook is high end.
Okay.
Is what I see for his high end. And I'm talking about that. Like I was talking Dalvin Cook as a prospect, right? Like Dalvin Cook had a lot of different, I guess, areas he could have gone. Right, like the field was wide open for him before because there was just so many different question marks with him coming out. But I see the same kind of range. And Dalvin Cook, I think, was a second round.
He was in a
second.
second.
Yeah.
And that was only because of the injury.
Yeah.
Well, no, there was more questions than just the injury history.
Well, I thought he would have gone a lot higher if not for because it was a pretty bad injury.
His size was a concern because this is the time in the NFL when they're like a 205 doesn't play at running back. It was like, well, most of the good running backs right now are 205, but it's fine.
Yeah. 210 is kind of a bigger back now.
Yeah, I was curious because this is another prospect, again, like I said, that me and Jesse had talked about briefly before, and I have a different comp for Dalvin Cook that is not this player, so I'm curious as to what you think when I bring him up later.
Ooh.
All right, Austin, who you got at 107?
Well, Chad's making it easy for me again, so thank you. Take Kenyon Sadiq. It looks like he's locked in for first-round capital. I looked at the consensus big board. It has him at 17. So I feel really good about that. I'm going to get what's going to be a day one starter in the league, mid first and tight end premium. I mean, he's got his question marks, but this whole class does. So why not have tight ends that have question marks as well? But the athletic profile, if he can get in the right offense, I think he's going to be a pretty steady piece for fantasy.
I love the film, and I love the way he gets in the way. You know, like he just tries hard as a blocker. He just doesn't have the size.
I think he's a plus blocker, to be honest.
The effort is plus, you know, just the body, the body type, you know, like he's smaller up
he's
top.
Almost 250. He ain't small.
I think coming out, he's a pretty average, in the league blocker.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, I think teams will feel very comfortable putting him as the tight end one.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying that as a positive. Like, I think he will be able to play in line.
Yeah.
Dallas, I'm curious on your thoughts.
He's raw is what my statement would be for him.
Yeah.
So my comp for him is David Njoku. So it's the same thing coming out of Miami, athletic freak. The upside is all the allure. You love what you see in 70% of the tape. The rest of it, you're like appalled by. And so that's kind of where I feel like he has to be a Y move tight end, which then puts him more into a do you fall to the correct team type of situation. Like with Harold Fanning last year, we would have felt a lot different if he didn't fall into a team that knew how to use their tight ends and has perennially used their tight ends well. And so that's kind of how I feel with Sadiq is tight end, not tight end dependent. Landing spot dependent is a term that gets tossed around a bunch that we don't like using, but like for him specifically, it does matter because he could very easily turn into Isaiah Likely, where we see flashes over 4 years, but no actual true production on a consistent basis that we can use. And then you just hope that it happens on the next team. And we've already burned our bridge basically as fantasy owners. And so it's somewhere in that range between Likely and him. He's a better athlete than Likely, but if you don't know how to use him, it's realistically what you're going to get. So
how would you want him used? And I'm not trying to be funny.
No.
Like, what do you think the ideal scenario for his usage is?
Him falling on a team where he's the target 2 to target 3 range. Like if he goes in and he lands with Carolina even, and he's with your team, like he's behind Tet as the number 2 target in the offense. They start doing weird underneath where Tet's the outside boundary pulling coverage from the middle of the field outside, and then he just gets to eat underneath. That's what I would love. If he comes in and he does exactly what was happening in Cleveland, obviously it's not going to happen in Atlanta, but with a Stefanski-esque type of person, That's what I would love. Another aspect for me that I'm looking at is I like Theo Johnson. I don't love Theo Johnson. He goes in. They don't take a high wide receiver in New York. He falls into New York, becomes the tight end 1 for them, running with Neighbors. Then it's, okay, how are you defending the entire intermediate of the field on both sides at all times, every single play? Those are the aspects that I fall into with Sadiq.
Likely's in New York now, too, though. That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's an absolute nightmare.
Well, you're right. He'll probably end up in Pittsburgh, so it's fine.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be great. Yeah, it's interesting. I do like that Njoku comp a lot. I've actually thought of that comp quite a bit. And I never say it because it just seems so easy, right? But I think it's one of those that's just perfect. Like Njoku is a prospect, very, very, very similar.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they're probably going to get the same kind of draft capital too.
Yeah. On paper, you're hoping for the next Vernon Davis, which is exactly how we felt with Njoku. So that's the reason I'm attaching that prospect to this.
God, Vernon.
I mean,
Davis
and you can
good.
make the argument that Njoku was kind of a failure as a as a fantasy asset, for where he was drafted, how he was thought of coming out, and especially for how young he was as a prospect too. But yeah, hopefully we see a little bit of a higher ceiling than Njoku.
Yeah, I think
I do like
something wild, like 10% of his career yardage is attached to Joe Flacco with Njoku, which is insane to think about because he's been like an 8-year starter, something like that, almost now.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
All right, Dallas, you're up.
Yeah, so this is where we get into a weird range where my love for players tells me to take people, but I'll leave those for later conversations just because I don't want to mess up this mock. For me, specifically wide receiver, I'm going to go Casey Concepcion here. It makes sense for me, and when I talk about the comp, you'll kind of get it. For me, he is Zay Flowers. This is exactly where Zay Flowers came out. You had the exact same issues with the drops with Zay Flowers, the slightly undersized catch capabilities of Zay Flowers, but when the ball was in his hand, you loved it. He was always getting open underneath and outside in the short to intermediate range. It's the exact same type of player. We're not going to be wowed by him. He could very easily fall into a underwhelming like Khalil Shakir realm, even though Khalil was a win based off of where he was drafted. But for me, it's the exact type of prospect you're looking for right here. You're looking for a safe hit if you're somewhere in the 7 to 11 range where you do not want to miss on a prospect. And I feel confident with drafting this type of player in this type of range where I'm not going to get absolutely burned with the pick.
I feel like you could get burned.
Khalil Shakir had the same sort of drop issues coming out, the same catch mechanic issues coming out. And then I think he went 1.5 years in the NFL without a drop. So he fixed it. My high-end comp for KC is Diggs. Mid-level is like Shakir, and then low-end is like Rager. Like, like the drops.
Rager is more Treylon Burks than he is with the first two names that you listed there.
I just mean with the drops, just and the knuckleheadedness ruining his career. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Anybody have it? So I assume this is assuming he gets top 50 draft capital. You're good with this?
Yeah, I'm good with that in the top 50 specifically. I think he's top probably 35. I think he's the first wide receiver in the second round realistically taken.
I think that's probably his talent level, but he may get pushed up. I would not be surprised if he went in the first.
Yeah, I'm looking at this mock. I'm on the consensus big board, and they have him going to the Bills, and I was like, please no, please don't do that.
Yeah, I don't. That would be so muddy. They have too many underneath guys. All right, I'm up.
You are.
All right, I'm going to go upside here. There's two guys I'd consider. That'd be Concepcion or Boston. I'm going to go, Omar Cooper or Boston. I'm going to go Omar Cooper because I think he's got higher upside. Also feels pretty safe at this point. I think the NFL is really understands how to use this player at this point. Love his film. We've gone over him ad nauseum. We did our prospect profile on him. Obviously, all these guys we did. You can't bring this guy down, and I think that is going to play in the NFL. And he's more than just there. You hear a lot of Debo comps. I think he's more than Debo.
He's so
I think
lazy.
I think he can play actual wide receiver. So, I think he's easily going to go in the top 40. I think it's enough buzz that he could go in the first round. Daniel Jeremiah's got him in his top 20.
I think he's a lot for round 1, personally.
You know, as long as he goes to a team that I think can use him, which is most teams at this point, wheels up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got a higher ceiling than Denzel Boston, who I think is going to be a very good player. Is going to be a very good PPR player, but Cooper's got a chance to be a wide receiver 1 in this league. At least for flashes, you know. I think he could have
I definitely agree.
Yeah. All right, Dallas, I'm curious to hear what you think of him.
He's good. That's how I feel about him. Like he's a good wide receiver. He doesn't wow me with anything. His yak is fun, but it like I said, with most Indiana players in that offense, they had a very specific role to play. His was catch it somewhere between 5 to 11 yards and do something. We're going to make sure we're throwing you the ball in zone. So do something with it when you get the ball in your hand. And so that's totally fine at winning at that level. Now, will he progress to be a top-end zone beater like the high-end tight ends, like the Amon-Ra St. Browns, even London in zone coverage? Probably not. Will he probably fall somewhere more similar to like a Juwan Jennings, potentially? Yeah, but like, I can't fault you.
Way more athletic.
Yeah, he's more athletic, and I can't fault you for taking him here at the end of the day. Like, honestly, a better comp on the same team is probably like a Pearsall. Like he's not that level of athleticism, but like the ability to win underneath, he could do what Pearsall should do on paper, is what I would say.
I think DJ Moore coming out was a very similar player.
Yeah,
that's a good comp.
Little raw and route running.
Yeah, exactly.
Good hands, excellent with the ball in his hands.
Yeah,
my ball kind of winner.
The big
kind of same size.
The big problem is the opportunity for DJ versus what Omar was going to get. Omar's not going to be brought in to be a wide receiver 1 on any of the teams that he's drafted
depends on where he gets drafted. I mean, if he gets first round capital, there's a real chance that he's going to earn a fair amount of targets early on.
Yeah, so a fair amount is fine. It's not wide receiver 1 targets. That's what I'm saying, is that back end, like even if Carolina takes him with the second pick, he's not the wide receiver 1 of that offense. Ted is, based off of draft capital, at least for the first year.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at the teams that are drafting in that range. No one's going to do it. If he falls to the second, you get into that conversation. But in the same vein, if he goes to Las Vegas at the beginning of the second round, Brock Bowers is playing the same role as him. He's not outplaying Brock Bowers in that. And then what is Omar Cooper Jr. doing? You know what I mean? And so he's not going to win the slot and short intermediate routes over Neighbors if he goes to New York Giants in the early second. There's like select teams that he would be successful in. Arizona's one of them. That'd be a pretty fun fit for him with what they have on the outside with Wilson and MHJ. But it's a role specific for me, whether or not his upside meets what his realistic volume of targets is going to be.
What do you have a comp for him?
I mean, DJ's not a bad one. I'm not far from that. I don't have a comp for him, to be honest with you.
Okay.
He's just a good player. That's what I have in my notes. So, all
right, Chad, you're up.
All right, I'm gonna go Denzel Boston.
You got your layup there.
Yeah,
yep,
it's a good pick with 110.
Yeah, it does feel like good value there, which is crazy. We're saying that in this class,
but I also think that any of those 3 receivers that fall to that point is going to feel like good value.
Yeah, true.
But Chad, go ahead with Denzel.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know, I just think he's a really solid player. As far as a prospect goes, I think he's going to have a little bit of a different role than Michael Pittman does in the NFL now. But as a prospect, I think they were similar. And I liked Pittman a lot as a prospect. I think Denzel Boston's probably a little bit even sharper on the short and intermediate routes. And I thought that was something I was really impressed with Pittman for when he was coming out. So I'm interested to see where he goes, what kind of offense and what they're trying to do with him. I think that there's a need for the type of player he is, but I think he can fill a multitude of roles. You know, you don't find uh, the route running ability on players his size very often where they can create separation the way he does. So I like him. I think that people are a little bit scared because of other bigger players that maybe get the slow tagline in the draft. I don't think Denzel Boston is his speed rules him out necessarily. I would have loved to see him run a 40. But I mean, also 40s can be, so overrated. Some players just run them slower, so I don't blame him for not doing it. I saw the separation on film, so I'm going to go with that.
Can't argue with any of that. I like him. I think it's a solid pick here, like I said. Dallas, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have one in every year because there is someone that fits this bill. He's my Allen Robinson of this year. Like that's what he feels like. He's a guy that's larger, a little bit smoother than you'd anticipate, and will probably be good, but never wow you. So I have him ranked slightly above Mark Cooper Jr., but they're, I don't want to say similar players, but similar molds of how they'll realistically be used.
I loved Allen Robinson coming out. That injury it took what was limited athleticism down to not really NFL level athleticism, unfortunately. But yeah, he was a good player.
Yeah, I think those three
Especially
receivers together. Yeah, that's true. I think those three receivers together are all safe in their own aspects for this class, which is kind of what you need in this class, considering you're using a first-round draft pick. I feel in most classes, none of them would feel great being a first-round pick. But when you're looking at this first and you don't have to spend a first, you can always trade it, and I'm not opposed to doing that. But if you're spending your first-round pick on a guy, you do want to feel somewhat safe that at least year one's going to be somewhat successful.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I laid out with Concepcion on mine is like, if he ends up as Josh Downs, I'm not upset because he has usable flex capabilities. You know what I mean?
You are at what 1.7?
Yeah,
you're devastated. You're paying that.
Well, I think it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
Because if like I say that I like him a little bit more than Pittman. Pittman in his class, along with T. Higgins and I mean Laviska Shenault, right? But Laviska not really relevant today. But they all went in that kind of 201 to 205 range. I think that's generally where you like these kind of players in a great class. But in a great class, you're also thinking of those players like, hey, they can outproduce the 108s, 107s, 109s. Said that out of order for some reason. But they can outproduce those players that go in that range, and that's a realistic outcome. You're not expecting it, but you know it's a possibility. And it did happen with some of those players.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the end of the world, personally.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like if I have the 202, for example, and I'm looking at my draft, then I'm looking at that as a spot where I need to get a player. This is a player that has to become a starter at some point for me. And Denzel Boston would feel comfortable for me in that area. Like if I took him at 202 in a normal, quote unquote, normal draft or let's say if this draft had 2 or 3 more quarterbacks in it and pushed all of this stuff down a little bit, there you go. You know what I mean? So the fact that I have to take him 4 spots earlier doesn't kill me. That doesn't beat me up. I'm fine with it.
Yeah. It matters a lot if you have like 6 picks in the draft, right? Then you're a little upset. But if you've got 1 in the first round, 1 in the second round, it's pretty much running even at the end of the day. You're getting one player you really believe in. And unless your team really sucked the year before, then you're probably still getting one player you really believe in. But yeah, I historically really like that 201 to 205 range of players in really good classes, and I feel like that's where these 108s to 112 kind of players are.
Yeah. So these three wide receivers that went back to back to back, where would you rank Jaden Higgins from last year in these three? That's where I'm mentally thinking about it, because that's how you should feel about them.
Yeah, I like them better than Jaden Higgins last year.
Then you should feel fine with all three of these positions, because Higgins was going at that turn in the 2-1 to 2-4 range last year.
Yeah, but I also felt like that class dropped heavy after that Golden, Egbuka, and Dart tier.
Yeah,
so that's kind of.
But we watched what happened to Golden. So like that's what happens in this range, and so that's why floor matters more to me than upside if I'm picking in this range, because I made the playoffs. I needed something that was consistent. I didn't get it. This is where I'm looking for it.
Yeah. I think the Denzel Boston, Omar Cooper, and even Casey Concepcion, for me personally, they would be like right after Loveland last year for me. So I think Loveland would have been that 112 spot. I think these guys would be right in play as soon as as soon as he came off the board for me.
Okay. All right, Austin, you're up at 111.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is my last pick I feel good about. And that's a relative term considering who I'm about to take, which is Ty Simpson. I think every pick after this is a pretty big question mark and has, especially pre-draft, has questions that I may have instantly lit this pick on fire. I think Ty Simpson has enough insulation at the QB position that at the 111 going into 2027, I can get somewhere close to the same value. There are very few quarterbacks that lose that much value in 1 year. What I would prefer to do is trade this pick for a 27 first. But, if I needed a quarterback, yeah, exactly. So if I need a quarterback, I'm here at the end of the first. I can put him on my taxi and hope that he gets opportunity.
Let me ask you, would you trade it for a 28 first?
That would really depend on my roster. Probably not, because I'm probably going to take the risk that Simpson can gain more than just a late first and a not good class value in a 2-year window. Because then you're having return on investment. It's 2 years that, yes, a pick will accumulate value, but I'd probably want something else with it than just a single 28 first. I mean, it's a long time to wait.
He feels like the perfect pick here in this class because you're taking such a risk with everybody, in this range. Then why not take it at the most important position?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, he's risky, but it's quarterback and super flex. So I like it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he could easily be the person that we're talking about at 106 or, after the draft. As crazy as that is, there's a real avenue that after the top 3 receivers and the Mendoza and Love, Simpson's the, standard 106 pick.
Yeah, so you're just describing exactly what I went through yesterday in this draft that I mentioned earlier. I had the 112, earned the 112. Excuse me. And
must be a bad league.
And I'm counting the players, and I'm counting 11. And at 12, I have no idea who I'm going to take. Stowers, no. Max Clare, that's a little early. None of the running backs. Oops. I'm like scrambling what I do. So at 107, I started offering 112 and 212. And 107, 8, 9, 10 all turned me down. One guy said it was close. And then 111 took it, and I took Simpson. So that's I desperately kind of needed to get up to the 11th pick, because after that, I just don't. Everybody else is like a mid-second to me.
Yeah, I agree.
At least pre-draft.
Yeah. After the draft, Mike Washington goes to Seattle in the first, and we're going to feel totally different about this.
I mean, I would hate doing it, but
he's worth a first at that point. No matter how you feel about him, he is worth a first.
Yeah, if I couldn't trade it, I would draft him and then try to trade him, probably.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up in the NFL draft. And thank God rookie drafts are after the NFL draft in most leagues.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's swung back the other way where they're saying, he's likely not going to be in the first round. So we'll see how that ends up. But
Ty Simpson.
Yeah. I think his range can be anywhere from 106, like Austin said, to middle of the second.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Consensus Big Board has him at 29. So that just shows how much of a range it is, because I'm sure some people have him at 5 or 6 and some have him at the mid-second.
So if he goes, where does he have to go in the NFL draft for you to spend 111 on him, Austin?
Arizona. I'll answer for him.
Oh, God. That's the only spot?
For me specifically, yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, honestly, any top 40 pick probably. Any first-round pick, absolutely. And there's going to be situations with the other players in front that he could be higher than that for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, any first-round pick, absolutely. He's a lock, at least as a top 11 pick.
Okay, so you said top 40,
ideal.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just running these out. So you take all of the first round, okay? You assume those players that are in there. Obviously, if he goes to back up Stafford and the Rams, that's its own situation. But starting off the second round at 33, you have the Jets with the number 1 overall pick in the second round. They're not going to take a quarterback. They're banking on being bad enough. Like, Arizona's the second pick. That's where I lock him in, whether or not that's at 34 or earlier on. If they trade up, cool. Tennessee, not taking him with Cam Ward. Las Vegas, not taking him with Mendoza. The Giants, not taking him with Dart. Houston, not taking him with Stroud. You have Cleveland. Are you going to burn one of your top 40 picks on another quarterback back-to-back years? No.
Maybe.
The whole new offense, absolutely possible.
Why would you not just bank on next year taking a better quarterback than the second option that fell to the second round?
Well, you have to think like an NFL GM, and I might not be around next year.
Okay, that's fair. Well,
might not be there.
That's the last feasible team in the top 40. That's at 39.
Yeah, but you're talking about with no trades. That we see a plethora of trades in the early second round every single year. There's no reason that we don't see somebody jump up to 36 or 32 or 33 and take them. So what team's there now means literally nothing to me.
Do you have a team that makes sense to trade up for him though? Do you have it, or just take him?
I mean, not really, because
that's my point.
Yeah,
it's a good bust.
I mean, no, it's not.
I think Pittsburgh's an interesting option.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why can't he go to Pittsburgh in the first round?
So if he goes Pittsburgh in the first round, that's a different scenario. But if he makes it to the second, no one's realistically trading up for him. And if Pittsburgh trades up for him, he's still a second round connotation quarterback that's not starting.
So he's Jalen Hurts.
It's going to be interesting. I think as far as Ty Simpson goes, there is a lack of quarterback needy teams, but at some point it's going to get too, it's going to make too much sense for a team not to trade up and grab him, whether that's the middle of the second round. I feel like it's going to be tough for him to drop any lower than that, in my opinion. I think the film he put up there was it was too good, even though the sample size is really small. It was too good early in the year, pre-injury. I'm not sold that the injury was, to blame for all of his woes late in the year after game 8-9. But I mean, you can't deny. I think if you're looking at just the games before that first part of the season, you can make the argument that he looked better than Mendoza.
Yeah,
I mean, we just saw Atlanta take Michael Penix Jr. after they spent $120 million on Kirk Cousins. NFL teams will do wild things when it comes to quarterbacks.
Got everyone fired, so
that's because Penix wasn't good, not because the process wasn't.
Yeah. We don't need it to be the right decision, right? We just need it to be a decision.
Well, that's my argument with Arizona. Arizona makes the most sense based off of realistic draft capital and realistically where we're expecting a QB needy team to actually let him pass by. I don't think Arizona lets him go by past 34. So is someone moving up prior to 34 if he does not go in the first round is my question. And I don't think there is someone that jumps them.
I just think he would have gone back and taken the huge NIL money and come out next year if he hadn't gotten a very favorable report.
And he's battling the 27 class.
Yeah,
so.
And he was a fifth-year player already.
But he had another year.
Yeah, he's old.
Yeah, but he needs starts.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I think we've seen in recent years, quarterbacks like Bo Nix, quarterbacks like Michael Penix. I don't think JJ McCarthy. I don't think those were the strongest prospects in the world. Teams took chances on them really early. I just think when you're approaching the second round with a quarterback like Ty Simpson, there's just too much to like there for him to drop any lower than that, in my opinion.
And I think the fit with who is it in Arizona now? Mike Nagy?
No,
Michael LaFleur.
Mike LaFleur. I'm sorry, I got those. I get Nagy and LaFleur mixed up because they together.
How rude.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, Mike LaFleur, I think the fit actually would be really good there. I also think the fit with Mike McCarthy would be really good. But Dallas, why don't you talk to me about Ty Simpson, the prospect, a little?
Yeah, I mean, he's Mac Joe's incarnate, which is it's a lazy comp, but like that's what he is. Like if you want someone who has the same type of sample size, the same type of play, he's a little bit more athletic, which is appealing. So that makes him more
better arm too.
Yeah, so that's where you lean into more of like a Davis Mills comp for me than you do as to a Mac Jones, but you guys don't want to hear that. So
you hate him is what you're saying.
Well, wow. I like him. If you guys remember, Davis Mills, that was like my first year with DWZ Network. Davis Mills was my QB4 in that draft class. I liked Davis Mills, and I thought he was going to be serviceable. He ended up starting for 2 years for Houston. Didn't become anything crazy, but he was serviceable as your QB2 if you needed him. And so, like, that's how I feel about Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson is not going to become Brock Purdy in my eyes. So there's no point in having an at-length conversation about him, even though we have. That's how I feel.
Okay. I think he actually has the traits to be a Brock Purdy. He would need the right offense and system, but I think he's got the processing, the timing.
I think he has better traits than Brock Purdy, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, he's not going to end up in San Francisco. So
no, that would be the problem there. Yeah.
I think he's got better. I think he's a better player than Bo Nix. I think he's a better prospect than Bo Nix was, but he's not going to end up in Denver either.
I don't know about that, but
yeah, I don't agree with that one. But
I think Bo Nix is so lucky that Sean Payton exists.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, Bo Nix has real arm talent, real physical traits as far as his running ability goes.
Yeah, his athleticism is definitely higher. I'll give you that. Yeah, I always forget that about certain quarterbacks.
All right, Dallas. Well, tell us who you were going to take.
Yeah, I'm so
who did I do terrible and take Ty Simpson over? So
no, it's not terrible. This is again just a conversation. For me, it's you brought him up often when you were prefacing Ty Simpson. It's probably Mike Washington for me, realistically, just because if I'm going in this spot. I'm going for the highest bang for buck possibility because I don't feel good about basically anyone else that's left on the board right now. Specifically Mike Washington. So I brought him up way before the combine performance. If you guys remember, this was like late September, early October. I was in a DWZ chat talking about my sleepers for this year's class based off performance and what I liked about his game. The reason I liked him is due to the player that he kind of reminded me of. It's not a sexy comp, but it is a guy that is, I was talking to Jesse about this again earlier, lasted in the league for about a decade, perennially a RB2 type of performer on his team. But when he was called upon to be the starter, which is what I'm looking for this, a la like a Manung guy from last year, not even remotely the same player, but like a guy who's going to consistently be a flex player. It's Latavius Murray. That's who he reminds me of. Just constantly just annoying enough and just involved in your lineup to be consistent. And if I'm the 12, I'm like, all right, this is a crapshoot right now. The upside is even better slightly athletically, even though people forget that Latavius Murray ran a 4.32, I believe, at his combine. And so it's one of those things. He's upright. It doesn't look sexy, but he's big. I think his vision is actually okay. If he was a more physical prospect, I would feel better about it. But the same concerns that you have for like a Derrick Henry, where he can't really weed out of that early jungle that happens in the first 10 yards. It gets tackled a lot for those 6 to 8 yard gains. That's what I see a lot with him. But Mike Washington, unlike some of the other prospects that don't have that long speed, I think can actually, if he does make it past that second level, give you those long runs. That's the only differentiator. I don't feel amazing with him. He's, again, RB2, RB3 in this class, but we're taking him at the 12 position, which never happens any year with RB2 or RB3. So that kind of tells you where I feel about him.
Yeah. Yikes. It's Miles Sanders to me.
You just say that because he can't find a hole if it's not open. Yeah,
He couldn't find a hole if he fell in it.
He could if the hole's there. He can get through it. It's the finding it is his issue. Yeah, like I don't see it.
I'm going to stick with my Isaac Rendo comp. I think I see a very, very, very similar player to Isaac Rendo, and the even the main weakness that I saw for Grendo in his last year at college. Well, I saw it for all his years in college, but specifically that last year. Even when he would find holes and he would hit them, it would look slow. Like that first step would look slow. And I just see the same exact thing with Mike Washington. And for guys that are as athletic as they are, and they're both amazing athletes, it's something that's a little worrying to me. Like I'll say it again, if Mike Washington ends up on a team with a really good offensive line that can give him some push up front, he's going to be a good player. But it's going to be completely dependent on that for me.
All right. Austin, why don't you recap the first, and then Dallas, I know you have to get out of here soon, so we'll start the second, and whenever you have to go, we'll finish up. We'll finish up without you.
All right. 1-1, Jeremiah Love. 1-2, Carnell Tate. 1-3, Fernando Mendoza. 1-4, Mekhi Lemon. 1-5, Jordan Tyson. 1-6, Jadarian Price. 1-7, Kenyon Sadiq. 1-8, KC Concepcion. 1-9, Omar Cooper Jr. 1-10, Denzel Boston. 1-11, Ty Simpson. And 1-12, Mike Washington. And for people watching, I messed up and kept it on Snake Draft, so pay attention because the 1-2-1 is going to be where the 2-12 should be, and that's my fault. I tried to change it. It didn't work, so don't judge me. Yeah, it's my first time.
It really isn't. That's the problem.
Shh.
All right. I'm up, and I'm in trouble here. I got Stowers, Claire, Chris Bell, Jeremy Bernard.
2 running backs that you could probably take that I would take, but it's fine.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the player that I think has the only player here that I think has. You know what? No, I'm going to take Stowers. I'm going to take Stowers, and I'm going to just hope that he goes to the right team that knows how to use him, because if he does, look out. And if he does not, good job, Austin.
See, not a rookie.
So if he does go to the right situation that knows how to use him, he could be just a souped up Sam Laporta, Sam Laporta's rookie year kind of thing, but better. But he could also be Dalton Kincaid. So, who, by the way, is going to be playing on an injury all year. It just seems like it's never going to happen for him. Yeah. So this is super risky. I also thought about Chris Bell because of the upside there, but he is also super risky because not only is he injured, but he's a little bit raw. I love what I saw out of him. So I'll take Stowers, and we'll see what Chad does at 102. But
202.
202, sorry. Any arguments there?
Nope.
It's fine.
Yeah. So if you guys remember, I actually brought up Stowers last year. I thought it was going to come out last year after the last transition. My comp for him was Tyler Eifert. That's what he reminds me of. And that's the exact type of player that I see with him. And so there's a lot of talk of him being just a slot wide receiver. There's a couple teams that want to try him out at wide receiver, apparently. That's the report that came out this week. But for me, Eifert, don't ask him to lock. Is he serviceable? Yes, he can do it. He can do the things that you need him to in the similar vein to Likely, but he also has like a top 5 tight end metric score all time at the combine. So he's way more athletic than what you would get from someone who you think is just a Y move piece that you don't know what to do with because he doesn't block extremely well. So Eifert is
At all.
Yeah, like basically at all. And so that's exactly how Tyler Eifert was. Like, I mean, he was just a move piece, red zone absolute monster, and long game merchant, similar to like OJ Howard. But OJ was way better blockers. So that's not who I'm blocking with the comp with him. So
Yeah, we talked about that last week a bit.
Yeah, Eifert is a good comp for him. I think that's what you would hope to see for him to succeed.
I just hope he keeps his tight end designation on sleeper, because if he turns into a wide if he gets a wide receiver designation, that's going to kill his fantasy value.
I don't know. There aren't many other receivers I'd take ahead of him, to be honest with you. I mean, so really, is it at 2-1? How much different? I mean, it's going to suck for your tight end premium ability, but looking at the class, there aren't many.
5 wide receivers I'd take above him if he was a wide receiver designated.
How about
there
that?
Aren't many for me.
No, I mean, if he lands in Washington, though, it's chef's kiss for me. Like, for him specifically, that's where I'm just begging and pleading.
All right, Chad, who you got at 202?
So in reality, I'd probably go Jonah Coleman, but I'm not going to do that because I've got a little theme going where I'm just going with my guys. So I'm going to go with Chris Bell.
All right.
Yep. So obviously Chris Bell, ACL, did him in, and everybody's worried about it. Everybody should be worried about it. ACL suck. But yeah, he's just a really, really talented player. I think he's gonna do so much damage in the NFL over the middle. Really, really, really like his profile. I think he's probably going to be a better NFL player than he was even a college player. For me, and I'm probably way above consensus on him. But if he didn't have the ACL injury, he'd likely be my 5th favorite wide receiver in the class. So, I'm going to go with Chris Bell here.
That's where I have him. So
he's your 5th wide receiver in the class.
Yeah,
so he's after KC for you.
Yeah, I have him above Cooper and Boston.
Wow. Dang. Okay.
I forgot how similar we are, Dallas.
He is the exact same prospect as Rashee Rice coming out. And if he's used in the same way, there's no reason you should feel different about how you feel about Rashee. That's how I feel.
I actually like him better as a prospect than I did Rashee Rice, and I really loved Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice wore a little bit of a cooler uniform in college, but everything else I kind of liked Chris Bell. But again, that ACL is huge. Man, I hope he comes back. It was a similar. I think I'm a little scared because I honestly thought J-Mo was the most talented player in his class as far as wide receivers go. And I just don't think he ever hit the ground running with that injury. And I'm nervous that the same thing's going to happen with Chris Bell. But if it doesn't, and he's able to, have a little bit of a better work ethic, and that's just going off of reports. I don't obviously know that, firsthand.
Maturity issue reports for sure.
Yeah. If Chris Bell is able to go in there and just work, right, then you could be getting a crazy bargain in the second round. And I don't even think you really have to take him at 202. I think there's probably going to be opportunity at 204, 205.
Yeah. As long as he doesn't get suspended for 2 months, he'll be slightly ahead of where J-Mo was.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that didn't help, right?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Rashee Rice.
Just same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
All right, Austin, 203.
I'm taking my tight end too. I don't care. It's one of the only other picks that I feel somewhat safe that he's going to be good, and that's Max Clare. Just feels like a surefire, steady tight end that's going to be really good in the NFL for a long time. Probably won't be as flashy as a lot of other names, but just feels like he's going to earn day one starting. I think he's going to earn tight end 1 on whatever team drafts him because he's a good enough blocker. He's good on routes, good hands, and seems to understand the position well. And that's what I look for on rookie tight ends.
Yeah, where did he play before Ohio State? Was it Tulsa?
No, it was Purdue.
Yep. Yeah. I went back and watched a little bit of that, and he did different things there. He was more of a receiver there.
Yeah.
I like Max Clare. I think he can do more than he did at Ohio State. But Ohio State tight ends, there's not much left after the wide receivers take it all, you know what I mean?
My comp for him is Brenton Strange. That's who he reminds me of, personally.
Ooh.
Okay.
Nice. I like Brenton Strange. One of my biggest sleepers this offseason.
Oh, you're just gonna copy me from laps all season?
I think I remember a year ago, Austin. I don't remember what I had for dinner earlier.
Oh, that's true. It was lasagna. You told us.
It was lasagna. It was delicious too.
And I was like, Austin remembers what you had for dinner. And you don't? What's going on here?
He invited me, but I said I couldn't make it.
Yeah, he snubbed me. All right, Dallas.
Yeah, for me, I'll just continue that trend of freak those injuries because we're a PG podcast here. Specifically for me, this guy would be so much higher, I think, if he was not coming off an injury and slightly a major one that kind of hemorrhaged him a little bit. I'm going Le'Veon Moss out of Texas A&M. So running back for me specifically, this is my comp to Dalvin Cook. His ability to bounce off of contact and make 15 to 20 yard runs, I think is the best in the class outside of Jeremiah Love. And so I know I took Mike Washington before him and everything like that. That's injuries baked in a little bit and just the talk because no one's talking about him. But I think round 3 in that Scatabo range from last year, if Le'Veon goes anywhere where there's not a Bijan or a tried and true top like 5 to 7 back, I'm in full-heartedly on him. I love his game.
Wow. Okay. He's all right. He's going to sneak into the third for me. I'm not going to buy him in the second, but based on, because I don't think I have to. I think that there's enough second round players that I can get him in the third. So
totally fair.
Consensus Big Board has him at 209.
Yep.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so the 7th. No. Like to pick 209.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant 209 in rookie draft.
Yeah, it did sound like that.
Yeah, totally fair. I would just call people out to go and watch his 2024 tape. I guess the early 2024 tape before he was injured, because even his game this year, specifically against who was that top end? I think Notre Dame. He just bowled out like 3 touchdowns, absolutely just a monster earlier on this season as he was working his way back, got injured again. So soft tissue is a problem with him. But as I said, with prefacing the pick, freaked those injuries this year. So.
Okay, right on, man. All right, thanks for the info. I'm gonna. Actually, I haven't watched him.
Go and watch him, dude. He's good.
I'm gonna have to. I can't say I can't speak to him. All right, so if we're going with my guys, I brought this up last week. My guy in the second round is Jeremy Bernard. Just smooth, do everything wide receiver. Blew my mind when when I watched it, I just thought I kept seeing him lining up in the slot, and he was like a third left side, third right side, third in the slot last year. And just solid at everything. I think that he's going to have like a 15-year, not 15, but a long NFL career. I think in like 8 years, you're going to look up and you're going to be like, oh, Jeremy Bernard's still starting? Okay, cool. He's just a pro-ready wide receiver, and in a class like this, if I can get a guy with a high floor in the middle of the second, I'm doing it. Other considerations here, there are 2 other running backs that I wouldn't mind taking, but since Bernard is my guy, I do think I'm gonna focus on him in the second round. I just like it because there's so much volatility in this draft, and I think I'm going to end up taking a volatile player in the first, a little what I feel is safety in the second. Feels good. Dallas, what are your thoughts on Jeremy Bernard?
Yeah, the Waldman comp that I kind of agree with on this one is Marvin Jones. That's kind of how I feel. Like just it's same vein that you were talking about, a guy that's going to stick around a little bit longer than he probably should. He'll have some really good seasons, does everything the right way, but like athletically limited, route running a little bit limited. Like he's just going to be his range is anywhere from like a Van Jefferson bad player to where he's on a different team every year to someone who sticks with a team every year, like a Juwan Jennings. Like that. Like honestly, that's what you're looking at. The dirty work wide receiver.
My comp for him is Tajay Sharp.
Yeah. I mean, he's a little bit bigger, but yeah.
Yeah, and he ended up measuring a little bit bigger than I thought he would too.
No,
So, and that's kind of when
he's thicker than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah. So that's when I started liking him a little bit more. I already liked him a bit, but that's kind of when I latched on a little more.
Yeah.
All right, Chad.
Oh, is it my turn already?
Yeah, 205. I think we're at.
All right.
6.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Jonah Coleman.
Nice.
Yeah, it feels like good value at 2.6.
Yeah, definitely. If where do you expect him to go in the NFL draft at this point, or like where does he have to go for you to take him here?
Anywhere in the second, I think is kind of where I'm hoping to see him if I'm taking him in this range or a little bit earlier. But yeah, I mean, I think the third round's also in play with him.
Yeah.
I think third's probably
more
realistic.
Yeah, the hope word that you said is exactly what I was feeling, because I would feel the same way. But for me, I think he's going third, and it's because he's athletically limited. So
yeah, that's going to be it, right? So it's just going to depend. I mean, I think all it takes is one team. If he goes, like I said, if he goes in the second, he's probably going to end up. He's not going to be available here. He's going to be somewhere around like 201, 202.
Yeah.
Kind of at the latest, if not a little bit earlier, actually. But yeah, if he's in the third, I still think this is kind of fair value, 206, 207, 208 kind of range. Good player. You know, you like what you see on film. You're just worried about if the athletic profile is going to translate to the league and what that's going to look like. So definitely some risk involved, but you know, also if you liked him, there's a lot to like there. I mean, if you watched him, there's a lot to like there.
I love his style. So if you picture like a bowling ball with butcher knife sticking out of it, rolling downhill, he's not quite that. Like that would be Doug Martin. Yeah, he's a bowling ball with like spatulas sticking out of it, coming at you. You know, a little bit softer and easier to handle. Dallas, what do you think of Jonah Coleman?
Yeah, no, this is the type of player that I love to hear, especially doing this year in, year out, how people feel about people depending on the class, because he's Kyle Monangai in this year's class. And people are talking about him in the second round, but people weren't drafting Kyle Monangai last year. And it's the exact same player. And so now we're lauding him, talking about how, yeah, he's a bowling ball with spatulas. That's how he felt. He's athletically limited. He'll get you those 7-yard runs. He's feisty. He's got that grit to him. That's the exact type of player. It's the Michael Turner, which is what I comped Monangai to last year. That's what you're looking at when you're looking at a Jonah Coleman if he lands at a good spot. Will he land in that? That's where his draft capital varies from the first to the third. So
Michael Turner actually had speed coming out, though. Is he turned into that?
It was 4.4, but yeah.
We don't know how fast Jonah Coleman would run.
Not 4.4.
I bet closer to 4.7 than 4.4.
It would be a 4.4.
Who runs faster, Jonah Coleman or Katron Allen?
Katron.
Exactly.
Really?
That's how I feel. Exactly. That's why I feel so bad talking about Jonah how I do, because it's like I should hate him, but I don't.
Well, let's go right into that because that's my next pick. It's Katron Allen.
This wasn't planned. Anyone listening, this was not planned.
Nah, it just feels so safe. It just feels like somebody that's going to be on a team and stay on a team, and that's hard to do for running backs. Just feels like a good back. I mean, plain and simple. Just one of those guys that, as we were basically just describing Jonah Coleman, that's kind of how I feel about Katron Allen. He's going to get the yards you expect every once in a while, a little bit more. Not going to wow you very often, but if you need 3 yards, he's going to get you 3.5 more times than not.
Yeah, I love Katron. I've said before, I think he's Gus Edwards, but maybe with a little more juice. And I hope the NFL is finding him a lot earlier than they found Gus, so I have a little longer in the NFL. Hopefully, he could literally go pretty much anywhere except for like the Cardinals, and I'd be a fan of him because he's not going to be a lead back anywhere he goes anyway. So if you already have a good back and he's going to be the second guy, then great. But the Cardinals have 15 guys already, so I really don't want to see him in that mess. Or, like the Jets have 2 good guys, but
See, I think he could be better than all the guys on the Cardinals. None of those guys really scare me. I mean, Algier's a really steady back.
You put respect on Tyler Algier's name. How dare you?
I mean, they're really similar, to be honest. That's kind of how the way Algier succeeded in the NFL is how I could see Katron succeed. That same similar role.
Would you bet on him being better than Tyler Algiers?
No, and I was a little facetious of a statement. I was kind of being a little exaggerant there, but I think that is kind of what you're wanting Katron to turn into, is what we saw Algier in Atlanta early on.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good fit, actually, is to pair with Bijan.
I was gonna say my worry about him is purely draft capital based, right? I think the what separates him and Jonah Coleman for me is I think Jonah Coleman just has a little bit more smoke as far as what the NFL outlook kind of feels like on how much they like him. Katron Allen, he has no special teams ability. Like nobody's going to field him on special teams. He's not there's no third down role capabilities at all. So it's going to have to literally be a Katron Allen or a Tyler Algiers kind of role, which you don't find those very often. I'm just worried that, he's not going to get picked until the 5th, 6th round of the NFL draft.
Yeah, I think 5th is really likely. I think 4th, 5th is probably what you're looking at, to be honest.
I still think
I'd be really happy with the 4th.
I still think he's going to get carries, though.
You just see guys that are better players like Braylon Allen, right? Braylon Allen is a lot better player than I think than Katron Allen is.
I think they're really similar, to be honest. Allen had bigger top speed. Let me say that.
Sure.
I'm going to give you the comp, Austin. It's Ollie Gordon from last year.
No, don't insult me like that.
It's Ollie Gordon. Tell me I'm wrong. There's no difference in their game.
I'll give you 2023 Ollie Gordon.
That was a collective sigh because no one wanted to admit I was right there. All right, I heard it across all.
I see it.
I did start to think back to early Ollie Gordon.
Yeah,
I could see it.
Yeah, that's kind of before 2024. He was terrible? Isn't that right? Isn't that the year he was bad? His last year in college?
Yeah, he had almost 900 yards, and his per carry average was fine. He just didn't have 1,600 yards.
Well, it was like 3.7 or something his last year. It was not good his last year.
He looked slow.
Yeah. Katron's had 1,000 every year. To do that with Nick Singleton is impressive. So I don't really have a problem. He just feels good. That just kind of feels like a safe pick, which I guess in the second you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to take ceiling players, but in this class I didn't feel good enough about any of the ceiling guys.
I agree with you, Austin.
At least somebody does.
My whole worry about him, like I said, is draft capital dependent. That's the one thing.
It is very fair.
His role is team based. That's literally what it is. He has to get opportunity, and there's just not that many roles in the NFL for this specific style of player.
Yeah, I gotta admit this in my head. I just thought about, the Dolphins would be good.
Yep, Ollie Gordon
and Ollie Gordon sitting right there. I was like, oh my gosh,
exactly, because there's only so many small backs that you can fill in for.
It's funny because I before anybody brought up Braylon Allen, I had thought, well, behind Breece Hall would be good, and then I remember Braylon Allen's there. So. All right, who's up?
Dallas.
It's me again.
Dallas, okay.
So we've danced this subject, actually. So it's the high-end upside pick as well as talking about the Dolphins. Give me Damon Claiborne out of Wake Forest.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
My comp for him is A-Chain. That you watch the tape. And so again, this is college A-Chain, not what he has become, where they trusted him with 190 carries every year with the passing down work. But when it comes to this point in the second round, if I'm looking at running backs, he gives me the highest upside of anyone because he is absolutely capable of taking any touch that he has or any carry, catch, whatever he's doing. He has 2 kick return touchdowns of over 96 yards, 96 and 100 in his career. All right. Yeah. So he's going to be a special teams player. He's locking onto a roster. He's smaller. He came in at 188, which is identical to what A-Chain came into. when you watch him, he breaks contain so many times. And even up the middle, if you watch specifically the Georgia Tech game from this year, there's 3 individual runs that happened during that game where I'm like, oh yeah, he's done. It was a 20-yard run. Nice. Somehow breaks through. It turns it into a 60-yard run. It's insane. And so if I'm looking for bang for buck right now with this wild class that I'm not confident in anyone in this range, give me the guy that's running that low 4.3s that has a proven track record of being a consistent down and down out player at the running back position.
You know why? I call him Dolores Claiborne. You know why I'm a fan? Because I had him on my C2C team this year, and he was unstoppable.
It's a good reason to like him.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. No, the electricity is real, though. I really like him.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just taking your guys at this point, nice. I know. A little early for me.
Yeah, I think he's a 3rd rounder, but draft capital could change that.
Yeah,
and landing
It's
spot.
all about draft capital opportunity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For pretty much, especially running backs.
Yeah, and I could have switched Le'Veon with DeMont here, and I wouldn't have felt any different with those two. These are the next 2 running backs that I'm going to be targeting heavily in the 2nd round, unless they go 6th round or later to a bad situation, realistically.
All right, that means I'm up.
It does.
Shoot. All right. I don't know. I guess I'll take Ted Hurst. So, small school guy, showed out at the Senior Bowl, got a lot of hype. I really like the tape. Bigger, outside receiver, smooth, good hands. He's a good mover, but I wouldn't say he's the most athletic guy. The level of competition is really the biggest red flag with him. So, he's taking a huge leap from Georgia State to the NFL. You wonder why he didn't transfer out of Georgia State at some point. He stayed there for all 4 years, I believe. So, like I said, I like the tape, but the movement tells me that he's going to, be a good player, and the movement in the hands. But who's he playing against? He's playing against future, I don't know, gym coaches, gym teachers. So I don't know if that really, how much that really translates. That's what I struggle with players like this watching on film. So I'm just going to trust my eyes and take him here. It's late in the 2nd, so take a guy I like. Dallas, do you have any thoughts on Hurst?
Yeah, he's good. Athleticism should translate pretty well. I have a smaller school guy that I have ranked above him, but I don't hate the pick in this range. He would have been 3.
Is it Bryce Lance?
Bryce Lance, my boy. Gotta be.
No.
Okay, I was just curious.
He would have been 3 wide receivers down from here for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Chad, you're up.
All right, I'm going to go Zachariah Branch. And it's a really easy play for me. This is one of those things where it's all about opportunity. He's going to find a spot in the league with pretty substantial draft capital. And I think there is a world in which he progresses his game. We know what he was, right? Over 50% of his production came from targets behind the line of scrimmage, which is insane. But he just wasn't really given the opportunity to prove he was more than that. And the time that he was given to prove he was more than that, he looked pretty good. So I'm willing to give it a shot and see what it turns into. And like I said before, you don't have to hold on to a player forever, right? I was a big believer in Tank Dell. Loved Tank Dell coming out. Saw him in Houston in person quite a bit. And I knew he was going to be a good player. Now, the difference between him and Tank Dell is Tank Dell looked like an NFL wide receiver, just in a very small frame. Zachariah Branch, like I said, hasn't been given the opportunity to prove he is that. But he will be, based on the draft capital he's going to receive. And I'm willing to see if somebody bites on him and he's able to get the early production early on, and probably move him, because like Tank Dell wasn't able to stay in the league very long as far as his availability goes, and hopefully that changes going forward. But yeah, he's the pick.
At one point, I don't know if Kuiper has him in the first anymore, but at one point, Kuiper was mocking him in the first round.
The big board has him at 62 now, so still a borderline second round. I think that's kind of where I think you see him in the back half of the second.
Yeah,
would be my guess.
He's more athletically gifted than most of the body type wide receivers that he falls into that category. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
Austin.
I'm going complete homer, and he's not worth this pick yet, but I think after the draft he will be, and that's Oscar Delp. I think he gets day 2 capital.
Wow.
I think he gets day 2 capital, and I think he's got a real chance to be the best tight end in the class.
Okay.
But I'm going to take him in the third in real drafts, but since we've done this entire back half of the second, just taking guys we like, I'm going to put my mark now and just go ahead and say it. I think he has a possibility of being a legit tight end 1 in the league. But it's going to take time, so that's why I'm not taking him really in the second.
Wow. Okay. Right on.
You hate him that bad, Dallas?
I don't hate him. I just have 2 tight ends specifically that I would take over him. Like, pretty soundly. He's my number 5 right now, but like these 2 I would feel way more comfortable with in the second than this. So
Trigg and Roush?
Nope. Jolly and Raritan.
I was going to say Justin Jolly is your kind of player.
Yeah, Jolly is my guy, but Raritan.
I like Jolly.
I think Raritan for me, if it wasn't for the injuries, he'd probably be tight end 2 for me.
Raritan just popped up today for me.
He's a monster. Yeah, like it's again easy comp because they play them always the same way every time when they're there. He's Cole Kmet. There's no difference in what he does than what Cole Kmet does on a down in down out basis. And so if you're looking for someone who's going to get early work, that's going to get drafted probably in the 4th to 6th round, Raritan is the guy that I'm going to be drafting every time in the 3rd round as my tight end 1 in the class if I'm not taking one of the early guys, because I know he's going to get work as a rookie.
Okay.
All right.
We'll finish off this draft.
Yeah, how are you, Jacob?
I'll let you guys pick. Am I going wide receiver or running back here?
Go receiver.
Yeah,
I want to hear a receiver.
Okay.
There's some interesting names.
Yeah, give me Skylar Bell. Give me the Husky.
Hey.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this is my guy. This is my Stan, my flag plant guy. I feel the exact same way I did about Shakir as I do about Bell. People are just basically downing him for being at a less conference. Basically, he had a slight hamstring injury earlier last year, came back, perennially 1,000-year wide receiver, absolutely dominated at the Senior Bowl, comes out, does the exact same thing basically at the combine testing, tests faster than what people expect him to do, and he can play all 3 positions because he was the entire offense for his team. So for me, that's the type of guy I'm taking a shot on at the wide receiver position. Normally I'd go running back, and I'll give you the bonus here. If I was going running back, I would either be going Emmett Johnson or Jaden Ott. Probably Emmett Johnson, who I have comp to Kenneth Gainwell because they're basically the same player. So,
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. He is Kenneth Gainwell. Good slow receiver.
let me tell you, he's going to catch that ball though.
Hey, Kenneth Gainwell played a key role in earning his Super Bowl ring.
Oh, Lord.
Every time he came in to spell Barkley, he made a play. And then he went to Pittsburgh and was just the weirdest RB2 I've seen in a long time.
No, he had the Leonard Fournette season where you're like, I'm sorry, why are we throwing this guy the ball 80 times a year? What just happened?
Why is it working?
Yeah, why is it working? Okay, everyone knows Aaron Rodgers can't move. No one else is getting the ball behind the line of scrimmage. Why is no one shadowing him?
All right, so I guess some of the I'll throw out some names of some of the honorable mentions if you guys want to jump in on any of them. Antonio Williams, Chris Brazel, Bryce Lance, Sam Roush, Drew Aller, Garrett Nussmeier.
Nick Singleton's probably the
Nick Singleton.
big name I think we quote unquote missed.
You mean
Any of those
AJ
guys?
Dillon?
If only Singleton was good at football.
Yeah, he's like Xavier Legette. Like, he should be good when you look at him and what he should be, but he's not.
Yeah.
Elijah Surratt, anyone?
No, thank you.
Nope.
Malachi Fields?
No,
anyone?
thank you.
No, thank you.
Nah.
Jacoby Lane is a name that I like, but
Jacoby
I don't
Lane.
think I'm going to take him in the second. I don't
Also
think I have to.
very raw.
Yeah,
so.
extremely.
Kevin Coleman Jr. out of Mizzou is a slot wide receiver I like a lot. Remind me a lot of Cole Beasley specifically, where he's going to be like a Darnell, like a Cole Beasley, where he's just going to be around. He's going to be consistently a flex play realistically for you. I like him a lot. Also, he is like the most traveled wide receiver in NCAA history. Like 4 straight years, 4 different schools, all over like 700 yards. For some reason, every school was like, we're probably good. You should probably go somewhere else. So don't know why that was, but he's a good one. Jay Knott, I brought up, very much a bruiser, a guy who at Oklahoma, if he had done what he did at Cal, would probably be a top 5 back in this year's class, and there's a lot of questions as to why it didn't work out. But if I'm taking a risk in the 3rd and 4th round, I'll dive into that, what I saw the first 3
Speaking
years
of AJ Dillon.
Speaking of Oklahoma, a guy that I just want to throw out there, going into the 3rd round, if he gets the draft capital from me, it's going to be Deion Burks. I really like him.
Oh, right, Deion Burks.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I like Deion Burks. Is that it?
Right. Yeah, I'll recap round 2 real quick and
all right, cool.
We can close it off. 2-1 Eli Stowers, 2-2 Chris Bell, 2-3 Max Clare, 2-4 Le'Veon Moss, 2-5 Jeremy Bernard, 2-6 Jonah Coleman, 2-7 Katron Allen, 2-8 Dolores Claiborne, 2-9 Ted Hurst, 2-10 Zachariah Branch, 2-11 Oscar Delp, and 2-12 Skylar Bell.
All right.
That is not what I expected to see the second round look like. So good job, guys.
That was totally different than the second round of the draft that I'm in, by the way. Completely different.
Oh, that and completely different than the one we did. Different players. Yeah, exactly. And I think they all have avenues to be in second round draft picks, which is what's crazy with this class.
Nice. All right. Can you stop sharing, Austin?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay. I'll get the layout. All right, we're in overtime. Dallas. Watch any good movies, see any good TV shows, anything like that this week?
We're slaves to the Apple TV is what I would say. So we watch pretty much every series that hops up. If you guys haven't watched Shrinking, that's a really good, like, feel good therapy related one where it makes you think about your feelings a little bit more than you want to during a 45-minute episode. That one's pretty solid. Jesse shaking
Harrison Ford is awesome in that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love Jason Sudeikis. So like for me, he's great. Another good one that just came back for season 2 on Apple TV. Friends and Neighbors. The first season was really good. Excited to see what the second season is. Haven't watched that
with
yet.
John Hamm.
Yep, John Hamm.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they did a second.
Yeah, so second season's
okay.
coming back. So that one, I think the second episode just aired this week. We haven't watched any of it. We like to binge. And then what's another Apple TV? We're big fans of Slow Horses. So this one is about MI5. I'm a big BBC guy when I like watch things just because foreign films specifically touches plot points that American filmmakers for some reason never touch on, regardless of what country it is. And so it's just a different aspect. And so it's a spy drama that follows a bunch of crash outs from MI5. So those would be my 3 recommendations.
Okay.
Cool.
Right on. Nice. Chad, how about you?
So I'm actually watching
if you say Survivor.
No, I'm not talking about Survivor. Dude.
Survivor 50 is awesome.
It's like a month straight. Chad's like, well, I've been watching Survivor.
Rizzo can't keep getting away with this.
Right?
Riz God should have gotten eliminated by Charlie.
I'm so angry.
Yeah, me too. I hate him.
I feel like he is just so just there. and like people don't take him seriously. And so everybody just lets him skate by the entire time. And
that's exactly how Charlie did it on his season.
Yeah, that happens one every 5 seasons. I feel like
that's what happened with Rizzo last year. Everyone knew that he had multiple advantages, and he bluffed them for 6 tribals in a row.
And they didn't care.
Yeah, they didn't care. They just never voted for him. It's infuriating.
Yeah,
they were like, "Oh, he did it again."
I'd say he's the worst. Except Coach exists, and he's by unbearable. Far the worst. Oh God, yeah, he's just so pompous, and then he like gives people a hard time for doing the same that he does, and he's so bad and the way quote unquote messy, like he's so bad at lying. He's just the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife. The last thing about Survivor that I'll let you go. My wife and I do a game on reality TV shows where we go into a season every time, and both of us pick basically one person that we think we're going to win it with. And if that person wins, the other person has to take them out to like an extravagant dinner type of situation. So we do that every year with Survivor. We do that with like culinary class wars, that type of thing. So it's a fun game if you guys don't do it.
That's a good idea.
Okay, that's cool. That's a good idea. Start doing that.
Fun. So I've been rewatching an anime called Attack on Titan. I recommended it to somebody. I can't remember who recently.
Us last week.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Okay, Austin, And so then I was like, I'm going to watch it. And so I've been rewatching it, and it's freaking awesome. What I didn't know is I got a buddy to watch it who does not watch anime at all. And I'm not, like I said, I've said this before, I'm not the biggest anime buff. I don't really know that much about it. But I convinced him to watch it, and he looked up the reviews on it, and he wasn't, paying me any mind. He wasn't going to watch it. But then he said it was the 10th highest ranked media, like piece of media of all time.
Yeah.
From a critic score, like behind Breaking Bad or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. If you go up until the last season, it would have been like top 5. I have literally anime tattoos on my ankle, so I'm right there with you. I literally have a Scouts regiment flag hanging outside of my front door right
now. That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's the only anime that has ever like made me scared. Like made me tense to the point where like I had to get up and move around the room a little. Like it had me yelling at the TV at times.
It's so like you like feel things watching it you didn't think like an animated series could make you feel. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. But my one comment on that though, so you're not the biggest anime guy. I've been watching since I was a child. It's basically just meat suit Gundams is what it is. If you actually like look at the plot of Gundam, and so like just take that into your brain, look it up afterwards, you'll realize that it's literally just Gundam with meat suits. So.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I used to watch Gundam when I was a kid. I used to build the little figurines and stuff. That was a time.
I literally used to watch Transor Z and Voltron. And Star Blazers, the original.
Star Blazers? That sounds like the knockoff.
Our Star Blazers was the original. It was so good. It was literally the original. It came before Voltron. Voltron was the anime, brand name.
Dallas, have you watched, I've been considering going to a theater to watch it, that Infinity Castle movie?
Yep.
Is it worth going to see?
I would say yes. I watched the most recent JJK film in theaters. I'm a big anime guy, big anime nerd over here. The JJK movie, the Infinity Castle movie, and then if you haven't started it, Chainsaw Man's a really good one. They have one that's in theaters on that as well. So,
okay, yeah, I'll check it out. Awesome. What you
got? I finished the live action One Piece. That was really good. Now I need season 3 to like hurry up.
Now you gotta watch One Piece.
Well, that's where I was going. I've already binged season 1 and 2.
You should stop.
And damn.
Yeah. Well, I've been watching it nonstop. I haven't like literally set and focused, but it's been on the TV for the past week straight. And I've watched enough of it to know what's going on.
Viz is remaking it though. They just announced it, so they showed the prelims for the images, and so they're condensing the first basically 10 arcs. So instead of like 300 episodes, it'll be like basically 50. So if you stop where you're at now in the next calendar year, you will be able to watch it in a much better format.
Okay.
That's what I was telling him, because isn't that the Attack on Titan studio? Animation
Yeah,
studio
Wits.
that's doing it?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's been really enjoyable. It's cool seeing the parts that like I said, I have this channel. It's 24/7, and it plays like pretty much anything you would want. And I had it on One Piece, and I have no idea what season I was on. I don't know anything about it. I was just watching it, and I was like, oh, I remember seeing that in the live action. But knowing it wasn't really early on in the anime, it was cool seeing that they kind of moved in like certain areas and different seasons in the live action early on.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun watching, like, as you get through the series and you see how the animation style changes over the years. It's really cool because, like, if you watch a new episode of One Piece, it's so different.
It's completely different. It's a painting. It's not anime, is how to describe it.
Yeah.
I'm extreme casual. Let me go ahead and start with that statement. So, like, all of it's kind of cool to me because I haven't watched any of it. So, I don't know what's good and what's not good. Just kind of enjoy it.
I know One Piece is one of the best. I mean, like, the best shows from a general consensus point of view. So, I mean, yeah, you're not watching anything bad. It's just tedious because it's a lot.
If you make it through the first 150 episodes, then you're in it for life, and you're going to watch the rest of the 900 that are available to you. That's how I would describe it. It's not the easiest of entry in terms of fans, is what I would say.
Okay. I've enjoyed it so far. I don't know how many I'm in, but I've enjoyed it.
All right. Well, I've got DTF St. Louis. Shoot.
We're not talking about what you did. We're talking about TV shows.
No, it's a show. It's the name of a show.
Is this a new app?
No, that's the name of the guy from Stranger Things, right? The police captain. Yeah.
The sheriff.
Yeah.
Oh. Hopper.
Yeah. Well, no, not Papa, but
Hopper.
Hopper.
Yeah.
Hopper. Yeah. No. Yeah.
It's also Papa, but yeah.
But yeah, he's in it. Plays a very interesting role, and Jason Bateman is in it, and Linda Cardellini from Freaks and Geeks, and a lot of these kinds of shows lately. It's a limited series, and it's like I don't want to give too much away, but it's they let on fairly early that it's like DTF is what it sounds like, and it's an app for people to cheat on their spouses.
Look at Chad go.
What?
That's what he said. He says it's an app.
Yeah, well, it's an app in the show. So for people to cheat on their spouses, and it turns into a weird love triangle thing. Yeah, and one of them ends up dead, which is in the tagline for the show. So I'm not really giving anything away.
Yeah.
And so the last episode comes out on Sunday. We'll find out who actually did it. I don't know yet. They're leading you to believe that it was either Jason Bateman or his wife. His
Okay,
best
that's
friend or
enough.
his
That's
wife.
enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. I assume it's going to be. I assume
so
they're
bad
going
with spoilers.
I assume they're going to throw a stupid twist in there, and it's going to be somebody that was in like 3 minutes of the show for some stupid reason.
Jesse spoils during the segment. He spoils at least one show every week.
That's why I like that.
At least.
All right, and then and the dad from Step Brothers is in it. The stepfather from Step Brothers is in it. So
speaking of Jesse, I'm still mad that you ruined that movie that now I still can't watch because I know that she dies at the end. I don't even remember the name of it.
What movie?
I don't remember. You said you went and watched it, and it was the worst movie you ever seen, and she dies at the end.
Oh yeah, Austin was about to see it.
Wuthering Heights. No, I saved your life.
Oh my god!
I saved you 2.5 hours of misery. I'm gonna end it on this. If coach you in a sport, would you actually do anything? If he blew a whistle and told you to run a gasser, would you do that? I wouldn't.
No.
That's all I got. Anything else, gentlemen?
No, that's all I got. I stayed on because it was fun, but I gotta go.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Amazing time.
Yeah,
thank you for your time, Dallas. We appreciate it.
Peace out, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the front office. The lights are low, the boards are lit, and the Dynasty clock is ticking. From the heart of the startup draft to the championship throne, one crew rules the long game. Give it up for the undisputed architects of empire.